by the House of Representatives, which would make being in this country illegally a felony. We do have team coverage of today's protests. Antoine Lewis has a look at the historical and massive march in Phoenix. Ryan O'Donnell will have reaction to the march in Tucson, but first, Fox 11's Deanna Morgan joins us with more on today's March for Change in the Old Pueblo. Deanna?
Hey Heather, as you said, thousands took to the streets here in Tucson, ended here in Armory Park, waving primarily American flags. The first group of marchers, high school students that walked out of school around 9 a.m.
We should have started this movement a long time ago.
Get our liberty back, my people! We take our President Bush, my people!
The next group of marchers, the biggest group, had more than 10,000 people. Once the march ended, a rally began.
Marching is only one piece of the equation. There's a long process ahead to reach the goals where we want to go with this.
Just as things were going well.
Ignore the ignorant. They have nothing to say.
Please get out of our space. We will start to move against you like this. You want that? You want that?
Members of the media and our Fox 11 photographer, Ruben Fuentes, were pushed and shouted at by a small group opposed to the rally.
Stop that flag! Stop that flag!
Remove yourself from our area. We will have police officers that will be expanding our perimeter outward because we're going to burn a flag, and if you're in the way, you're going to catch on fire. You got it?
Everyone has a right to free speech, both the people who are inside the circle and the ones around us. So we're here to create that safe barrier.
Things got much worse.
It wasn't him, man! Back up!
At one point, police sprayed pepper spray.
Because the rest of my sister and an officer punched me in the face because I was asking him what happened, and he punched me in the face right here.
There's nothing legally that prohibits an individual from burning a flag on public property such as occurred today. What became illegal is when other people start to engage in violent acts to try to interfere with that individual.
Police tonight say 6 people were arrested, 3 of them juveniles. Heather?
Many demonstrations were kept peaceful, but in Tucson it took a dramatic turn. In Tucson alone, approximately 15,000 people hit the streets protesting the House bill that would make illegal immigrants into aggravated felons and demonstrating in support of what they call a just immigration policy reform. And while most kept control of themselves despite the heated nature of this debate, at the very end things started getting out of hand. News 4's David Marino begins tonight's team coverage you can count on. David.
For the most part, today's immigration march and rally was peaceful, but when a counter-protest group began burning Mexican flags, things got out of hand.
A couple of officers were injured, and several other individuals were then taken into custody.
Before the scuffle broke out, today's march and rally was moving along at a peaceful pace. More than 15,000 people took to the streets of Tucson armed with a message.
I'm here to support the American way of life, and I think everyone deserves the opportunity to be able to do that.
This woman came all the way from Chicago to be part of today's demonstration.
And it was part of the March of Chicago, and you know, this is such a great impact for our country and for our Latinos.
From up above, Tucson police keep a close eye on what's going on, making sure things don't get out of hand.
Bye. The Pueblo groups at the federal courthouse.
It's a collaborative effort with the Pima County Sheriff's Department.
I think it's a result of what we have learned from 9/11 and the Homeland Security program that's pushing us to cooperate and work well with each other.
On the ground, peacekeepers wearing yellow bands around their arms try to prevent violence.
We're not going to confront provocateurs. We're just going to say, everybody just walk past, don't worry about this person. They'll deal with their own anger however they want.
Along the way, counter-protesters like this man stand on the sidelines.
I don't mind them coming here if they're legal. I have no problem. Help them all out if they're legal. But if they're illegal, no way, nothing, zero.
Eventually, these marchers make their way to Armory Park for a rally.
First time that I see so many Mexicans united and actually fighting and standing up for what they believe.
They have no business making foreign policy or immigration policy, and they have no business asking to be granted or demanding special rights, because they're not special.
Border Guardians, a counter-protest group, also staked out a spot at Armory Park. But before they burned the Mexican flag, they stomp on it, ripped it, punched holes in it, and pretended to bullfight with it. Then they set it on fire. These flames ignited a shout-off between the counter-protesters and the marchers. Police surrounded members of the Border Guardians group to protect them. As the rally was wrapping up, things took a chaotic turn.
And there was an individual who threw a bottle, in fact, at the individual burning the Mexican flag.
Officers move in to make an arrest, but tensions escalated when police arrest a second person.
The situation became more volatile when they got to the point of putting that young lady into custody and putting her in a patrol car. And several officers were attacked by members of the crowd.
At that point, officers say they had to use force. They tried to gain control of the crowd by using pepper spray.
One individual who actually jumped on an officer's back and began to assault him. People were pushed and people were pushed back, but basically because the officers had to gain some space to try to effect the arrest.
2 police officers were punched in the face and suffered minor injuries. One of our photographers was also injured when he got pepper spray in his eyes. He is doing fine tonight, and all 6 people were arrested, 3 of them juveniles. They face several charges, including aggravated assault on a peace officer, disorderly conduct, and interfering with an arrest. David Marino, News 4.
We have seen days of peaceful demonstrations, but today, that changed. Marching with passion in their hearts, close to 10,000 Tucson protesters Monday were peaceful until a scuffle broke out at Armory Park. It started when counter-protesters burned a Mexican flag. After a 6-second display, police emerged from the crowd with a young woman seen in the white shirt.
Back up!
The young woman is led through downtown in handcuffs. Watch what happens after she gets into the police car. Our K-Gun 9 crews are forced away from this scene, but not from the anger that followed.
They brought this girl out from the audience. She didn't do nothing. They're using her as an example. They brought him this way and brought the crowd and caused all this crap here. It didn't have to happen. They're using this as a stepping stone for us. These kids didn't do nothing. They arrested them for nothing. Then they beat them down. They beat them right there in front of everybody.
And everybody close to the melee felt the aftermath of pepper spray. Even this 14-year-old girl who left school to take part in the protest that many say will forever change Tucson. Tucson police tell us they arrested 6 people during today's march.
Taking another look at the scuffle, police officers say their reaction to the protest was appropriate, but some immigration activists disagree. Jenny Rose in the newsroom.
That's right, Guy. Tucson police say they had to act quickly when tensions between demonstrators on both sides of the issue sparked violence. Tempers flared as marchers demonstrating against immigration reform clashed with the group of people burning the Mexican flag. A woman threw water at the flag burners, touching off a wave of confrontation between civilians and police.
Because of the tensions that were starting to erupt at that time with the burning of the flag, we decided that at that point it was time to get that person into custody and get them out of there.
Tucson police say the flag burning was a constitutionally protected act of free speech, but legal observers attending the demonstration wonder why the city allowed the group to be at Armory Park in the first place.
Why was that permission given to them when, they could have done that across the street, down the block? Why was that allowed to happen in the park that we already obtained a permit for?
Legal observers will review the day's events to determine if the police response was appropriate and make sure no one's civil rights were violated.
4 people were hurt in the demonstrations, 2 civilians and 2 officers.
You're watching KOLD News 13. Live, local, late breaking. This is KOLD News 13 at 10.
They're not criminals. They're here to work, honesty, and just for a better opportunity.
I'm proud of the American. We are all proud to be here in America, okay?
Thousands of people in Tucson, Phoenix, and across the country marched demanding immigration reform. Several demonstrations were bigger than organizers expected and peaceful for the most part. But police move in when another group ignites tensions. Thanks for joining us. Organizers called it a day of action.
Thousands of protesters want Washington to give illegal immigrants a path to become legal citizens. Tucson was one of nearly 100 cities where people took their message to the streets. Police estimate 16,000 people walked from the south side to Armory Park downtown. Organizers were expecting about 10,000. Many marchers wore white as a symbol of peace and carried American flags. Overall, police reported little trouble, but that was before another group tried to burn a Mexican flag. A scuffle broke out and 6 people were arrested. The same group did the same thing yesterday in front of the Mexican consulate. KOLD News 13's Dan Maris begins our team coverage of today's marches.
Well, Chris, up until the flag burnings happened, the protests and march were peaceful as more than 10,000 strong showed their solidarity by fighting for the rights of illegal immigrants. Echoing the cry of Cesar Chavez, marchers chant "Si se puede," which means yes, we can. Whether they can or not, what they want is a change in the current border policy. They also want legal citizenship to the estimated 11 million illegal immigrants already in the United States.
Most of the people that come are coming to work, and they're a very important part of our economy. They might not, they might not be legally here, but they pay taxes as much as anyone else.
They took that message to Armory Park, where they also spoke out against another immigration reform bill before Congress, House Resolution 4437, which would make it a felony to be an illegal immigrant.
That bill is absolutely horrible. It's an enforcement-only bill. It's not realistic, and it's in no way, shape, or form, comprehensive immigration reform.
As the marchers peacefully protested, another group, Border Guardians, held a protest of its own. While immigration reform supporters waved American flags, Border Guardians burned 2 Mexican flags. That angered some in the crowd. They tossed water bottles at the flag burners. Police moved in and arrested this girl for throwing one of those water bottles. She quickly became the center of attention as people demanded her release. The situation got worse as 2 young men got into a fight with several police officers. Some say this is exactly the kind of violence Border Guardians was trying to entice by burning the flags. Roy Warden, the man who sparked the flame, says that's not the case at all.
We see the Mexican people as being exploited by their own government. We see the Mexican flag not as a symbol of culture, but as a symbol of government.
Despite the short-lived violence, organizers still say they gained positive attention they feel is needed for Congress to take action.
We are, a country of immigrants, and that should be celebrated. That's something that we should be promoting, our diversity, not fighting over each other and burning each other's flags.
In all, 6 people were arrested. They range in ages from 15 to 55. The charges range from disorderly conduct to aggravated assault on a police officer. Live in the newsroom, Dan Maris, KOLD News 13.
Thank you, Dan.
Pero no todo fue pacífico hoy en Tucson, ya que durante esta manifestación hubo quienes no pudieron controlar sus impulsos. Así reaccionaron. Esta Esta fue la respuesta de varios hispanos al ver que un grupo de antiinmigrante quemaba frente a ellos una bandera mexicana. Se hicieron de palabras y momento en el cual intervinieron las autoridades y fue entonces donde se suscitaron empujones y amenazas. Esta noche solo a las 10 le tendremos los pormenores de este incidente. Vamos a trasladarnos hasta el sur del estado, en Tucson, donde hoy también marcharon. Miles de personas se lanzaron a las calles en esta marcha titulada Marcha Somos la Solución. Se llevaba a cabo sin ningún altercado el día de hoy, sin embargo, de repente algo se suscitó. Lizeth Martínez nos amplía, adelante.
Gracias, Mari. En efecto, después de las controversiales imágenes que vimos hace algunas horas, donde la policía se mostraba agresiva hacia los manifestantes, autoridades aseguran sus oficiales actuaron adecuadamente. Así culminó lo que había sido hasta ese momento una marcha pacífica por los derechos humanos, donde más de 20,000 hispanos se unieron bajo una sola voz exigiendo una reforma migratoria. Y aunque por horas hicieron caso omiso de las provocaciones de grupos antimigrantes presentes en el evento, al final algunos miembros de la comunidad no pudieron aguantar la ira al ver la bandera de su país quemándose frente a sus ojos.
Aquí estamos contigo. 20,000 personas hoy aquí estuvieron contigo, en paz.
Al ver que 2 hispanos habían sido arrestados, la multitud le exigía a las autoridades que los pusieran en libertad. Según la vocera del Departamento de Policía en Tucson, fue ahí que comenzaron las agresiones hacia sus oficiales.
Como 200 personas siguieron a los oficiales y empezaron con actos de hostilidad y empezaron a ser muy agresivos contra los oficiales.
Durante el altercado, miembros de la prensa que intentaban captar el incidente fueron empujados, mientras que este oficial amenazaba a la multitud con su pistola. Según autoridades, el arma solo contenía balas de perdigón con pimienta, utilizadas en este tipo de situaciones.
Uno de los oficiales tuvo que sacar su pepper spray y usarlo contra las personas que estaban agresivas.
Al final, 2 oficiales resultaron heridos y 6 manifestantes fueron arrestados. 3 eran menores de edad. Por su parte, los organizadores del evento comentaron que estarán investigando lo que ellos han determinado malas decisiones por parte de las autoridades. Hasta el momento, Mari, es todo de mi parte desde Tucson. Regreso contigo a Phoenix.
Gracias, Lizeth.
Pero bueno, como nos comentó el legislador estatal Ben Miranda, quien nos acompañó en nuestra edición de las 5, esta marcha sí podría tener impacto en las esferas políticas que se van a reunir mañana en su sesión diaria. Durante la marcha de Tucson, las cosas se pusieron color de hormiga. Hubo varios arrestos después de que se encendiera el coraje entre los manifestantes que observaban cómo algunas personas quemaban la bandera de México. Tenemos imágenes captadas únicamente por Telemundo Arizona y Joana Samaniego tiene los detalles.
Esta joven de 13 años de edad fue baleada con un arma de gas pimienta por las autoridades.
Tuvimos 6 arrestados hoy en el incidente.
No hice nada, repetía una y otra vez este joven. De repente la policía lo tiró al suelo y lo arrestó, mientras el otro joven que ve en esta imagen estaba siendo golpeado en la cabeza por un oficial.
Era una variedad de emociones muy violenta. Lo que tratamos de hacer es arrestar a las personas y sacarlas de ahí.
Esta mujer fue arrestada por tirar agua y mojar a la gente, una situación que las autoridades consideran un delito. Por otro lado, quemar la bandera en cualquier área pública no es un crimen, sino practicar la libertad de expresión. Esto según el capitán de la agencia policíaca, quien permitió que los opositores se manifestaran a unos pasos de los marchistas. Los activistas defensores de los derechos humanos hicieron todo lo posible por mantener la tranquilidad y la paz de la gente. Pero fue imposible contener la frustración y dolor de quienes observaban cómo quemaban la bandera mexicana. Por su parte, según el departamento policíaco, 2 oficiales fueron atacados y sufrieron lesiones en la cara.
Había muchas personas contra los oficiales y tuvimos que poner el espacio necesario para tener la área para arrestar a las personas y para que estén seguros los oficiales.
Después de observar el video, cuestionamos la fuerza que utilizaron las autoridades al realizar estos arrestos. Según el capitán, en ningún momento se utilizó fuerza excesiva. Joana Samaniego, Telemundo, Arizona.